How's it going, everybody? A hotly requested video from the new player community has been, what do I farm? So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to break it down store by store, talk about campaign energy as a whole, as well as incursion energy, and just give what I think is the best advice, which, as the title says, never farm character shards. Let's get into it. Alright guys, we're going to go store by store, then head into the campaigns, and then talk about the overarching theme of this video, and what I hope you guys take away from this, which is, like the thumbnail said, farming character shards is kind of worthless, alright? So let's start in the Blitzer. This is a store where you're going to have the most agency over because you get what you put into this store. And there are some banger characters in here. Spider Slayer, Mockingbird, you might notice I have them maxed. We got Namor in here, Rescue's in here, She-Hulk is in here, so we got some Horseman characters in here. So this is great. So who should you farm from this store? Nobody. You should just farm the orb. If you are a hardcore Blitzer, you should literally just orb farm and profit. If you are a casual Carl, i.e. you're not logging in every hour to Blitz, you should target farm. Rescue, we need to run the raid. Spider Slayer, part of one of the best villain teams that's going to help you really good early on, both in raids and in the campaigns. And Mockingbird, who's needed for some legendary characters. And then after that, once again, orb and profit. So what is in the orb? Well, the orb has an RNG chance of everybody in the store with an increased drop rate of the featured character. You notice my Mockingbird was maxed out? Well, she was the featured character before Spider Slayer, who is the current featured character at 10% drop rate. Other than that, you can get every other character in there, and the kicker about this store is, first of all, the orb, no minions in it. They took those minions out and it only costs 350 tickets, whereas if we go and look at some of the characters, 975, 500. So we are saving on our Blitz currency, and we're also getting gold on the left and right pillar. It might seem like a very meaningless amount, but if you hardcore farm Blitz or you only open orbs, this gold amount is actually going to be very impactful. So once again, that is my recommendations: orb farm and profit. Let's head on over to the raid store. Raid store is going to be much different than the Blitz store. Unfortunately, all characters are not available at all times, but fortunately for us, it still has this raid orb. It costs 900 though, not 350. That might scare you. Well, until you look at the characters and you see the best, newest characters cost 4,200. Well, if we open up an orb and we get lucky, we will actually, here, let me go ahead and open one actually. For 900 of these credits, we go ahead and we pull Thor. Not a great pull. Let's do it again. Now we pulled 1,800. All right, we got 4 Cloak. That's the equivalent of a couple hundred there. Moonstone is one of the newer characters, I believe, so that's another 1,000 or so there. So we're now at a net positive as far as how much we've gotten. Coulson is an amazing farm. We don't want to farm the node he's on, and we're going to need him for legendary unlocks. That orb sucked, so on and so forth. And Big Time Spider-Man is a new character. He's very expensive. So let's see. And then we get Cloak. So for, 6,000 of the credits, we definitely made out on top. Even though I have these characters maxed, you may not. We definitely made out on top. But I do have some recommendations besides just orb farming here, because there are very valuable characters in the raid store. You want to target farm to unlock Cyclops, part of the best raid team currently. Icarus, he's going to be very, very good early game and mid game as a plug-and-play character with Cersei. You're going to use them probably in Arena as a one-off for Crucible or War. It's going to help you kind of get the currency for those other modes faster. Vulture, part of that villain team we were talking about earlier, Sinister/Superior 6, going to be really helpful, like Cersei, like Icarus. And then also in that campaign where he's kind of a specialist and he's really, really good to help for some legendary unlocks. And then Kraven, who's one of the newest characters that was added into that store. He does cost 4,200. I still think you should farm him to unlock and then orb farm and profit, just like we did with the Blitz orb. Then we're going to get to the Arena store. Unfortunately for us, the Arena orb is absolute trash. It costs more than what a guaranteed character shard does. Technically, you can come out on top farming this orb, but it is riddled with RNG. Definitely not something I would recommend. Instead, take a look at the characters that are in here. There's decent characters in here. You know, we got Ronin, Spider-Man, Noir, Gambit, and that's about it. Those are kind of the only characters that are worth in here, besides maybe some Horseman characters. I think Scarlet Witch was once upon a time in here. She may not be anymore. I see Loki's in here, so that's a Bifrost character. You get him from free anyway. Dagger's in here. Okay, there's Strange Heartless is in here. But the thing about the Arena store characters is, for whatever reason, they've kind of doubled up. Everybody that's in the Arena store kind of has a node later on, which we're going to talk about. So I don't really suggest you farm too many characters here. Instead, I would target farm Gambit and Noir to unlock. I would max Gambit out because he's on a node we're not going to want to farm later, whereas Noir is. He's super impactful on that extreme team. Then I would target farm to unlock Ronin, but only when you're ready to push for that Red Hulk and the Green Goblin Classic respective legendary unlock events, okay? And that's kind of it for the arena store. As we're going to see later on this video, there are some banger nodes later that have the best arena characters, so we're not too worried about it. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the War Store. War Store, like the Raid Store, unfortunately doesn't have all the best characters showing at the same time. Doesn't have every single character listed. In fact, this top row is where I'm keeping my eyes out for the character that we just added in here, Forge. He's the character I have my eye on right now. All my work credits are going to him. But that doesn't mean that should always be the case. For you, if you don't have Carnage unlocked yet, Carnage is going to be a character you definitely want to get unlocked. He's cheap to get unlocked from the War Store, but that's all about what we want to do though. We only want to target farm to unlock all of our raid characters plus Cersei, who we're going to pair with Icarus. So we're going to start with Forge, then Ironheart, then Carnage, Sylvie, finally getting Cersei, and then farm to max Forge. We are going to farm to max this extreme team now because they're going to have a lot of life in the game. And then guys, Horde. Scopely has this nasty habit of putting the best new characters in the War and Crucible store, and we don't need to farm these raid characters very big for them to accomplish what they need to. I'm looking directly at Ironheart when I say this because the other characters have different methods to farm them. Ironheart can easily get carried from Kestrel, but you just need to get her unlocked. And that's it from the War Store, guys. Get your raid characters unlocked plus Cersei, and then farm to max Forge, Horde. Leading us into Crucible, which is even more stingy on what we can do than the War Store is. You'll notice I already got Nightcrawler done. You're seeing a big theme here, right? It's the extreme or die video, if you will. I'm farming Nightcrawler all the way, even though I could buy a Robbie Reyes here, even though that gets him pretty close to that 6 yellow, 6 red. I don't have the resources under the new leveling system to really gear him up and put the levels and the training materials on him that's going to benefit him anyway, so there's no reason to rush his shards. I might get it from a Mega Orb, I might get it from a Premium Orb. There's no reason to rush it. Quicksilver would be a little bit of a different example because this is the only place you can get Quicksilver. I farmed him up, but I dead stopped farming him now because we do have Nightcrawler. But there are some other interesting characters to get from this store. Most notably, we have more raid characters. Yes, this beginning game experience is about your raids. Get your raids online and then branch out to the fun Crucible and the war modes and the sword satellite, the killing towers, all that kind of stuff. But you got to get your raid teams in order first. So you want to target farm to unlock. Definitely Nightcrawler, definitely Iron Man Infinity War, and definitely Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill with the Bifrost team. Even if they were to get zoned out tomorrow, there's still probably going to be a better team for new players to get, as the characters are on some very interesting nodes we're going to talk about later, just to kind of get you to whatever the raid is that Bifrost gets zoned out on. Once we have those raid characters unlocked, we're going to go directly at Nightcrawler's throat and max him out. Once he's maxed out, we're going to go for the Robbie Reyes and then the Quicksilver. Quicksilver does have an expiration date. It's unfortunate he is such a stat-based character. Every day goes by that you don't have him farmed up and built is a day you lose out on a lot of benefits from him, but that's just the way the game is. Once we have those 3 characters maxed out, it is Horde time. Now you might be thinking, Dorky, I'm looking at Nemesis there. I'm looking at Agatha there. Why aren't we farming these characters that are needed for Horseman teams? And to that I say, wait, we're going to talk about that later. I don't know why you brought that up. It's really weird of you to bring that up unprovoked. All right, so after the Cosmic Crucible store, we're going to head on over to the campaign nodes. Now, the campaigns, we're going to talk about kind of in a life cycle of 3 different lives. Your commander level, pre-level 75, from 75 to 80, and then from 80 on, because that's when we're going to unlock chapters. Level 75, we unlock the Heroes Assembled and Villains United chapters. At level 80, we're going to unlock the Nexus Hard chapters. So let's talk about pre-level 75. We are going to be farming as much as possible. Venom, who is on Heroes Chapters 3, Node 9. Heroes should be spelled with an E. And Ghost Spider, who's on the Nexus campaign, Chapter 6, Node 3. We're also going to farm as much as possible, or to 6 stars, Thing on Nexus 2.9, and Hela on Villains, Chapter 3, Node 9 as well. Now, the way the new leveling works, you're probably not going to reach 6 stars on those characters. You're definitely not going to reach max stars on your Venom and Ghost before you hit level 75. But when level 75 comes, we are going to do a drastic change. We are going to start farming the fun characters. Yes, the characters that we were talking about earlier. We have Noir, who's going to be available on Heroes Hard, Chapter 7, Node 6. Why do we want to farm him here and not from the arena store? And why don't we want to double dip the way we were double dipping with Gambit? Well, it's simple. The Heroes Assembled and the Villains United campaigns are where they start introducing nodes that have gold orb fragments and training orb fragments on them. So Noir has gold orb fragments here. This means I do not want to waste my arena credits farming Noir because I would much rather double dip, getting gold orb fragments while getting his shards, because you will always need gold. Gold is going to benefit your account, and same with training materials, so much more than rushing these character shards, which you would just organically get from premium orbs, basic orbs, from the events that they run, all that kind of stuff. Gold is going to be the thing that lasts in your account the longest, and getting extra gold is definitely more beneficial than getting extra Ultimates credits because you farmed a character up faster. I'll also take this time to talk about event stores because I do know Noir is currently in my event store. For an event store like this, the only way I would ever farm Noir, Carnage, who's also in this store, or Sunspot, who's also in this store, is if I didn't have them unlocked. Or Gambit is in the store too. I don't care how cheap they are. I would rather farm the materials that are going to help me level these characters up, whether they be the gear tier 18s, maybe the gear tier 17s, the uniques. 8 teal uniques for 4,800 is not bad, especially if you see osmium in there. That's going to save you headaches later down the road that you will experience if you waste your currency on these characters that we can get from nodes or from stores. So let's get that out of the way. Even as a new player, unless it's to get a character unlocked, I really don't suggest farming these older characters that have different farming methods. But let's talk about another character in the Heroes Assembled that also is on a stellar node, and that's our Sunspot. Sunspot also has a gold orb node, so we're definitely going to be farming these characters to max. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So from level 75 to level 80, we're going to farm to max our Noir, Gambit, Sunspot, Carnage, and we're going to make sure we finish up Venom and Ghost Spider. That's right, we are actually going to farm to max our raid characters, except for Darkhawk. Kestrel does so much lifting on the Pegasus team, you don't need Darkhawk to 5 stars. And as we're going to talk about in the next sort of image, we have bigger fish to fry than getting Darkhawk maxed out. I don't suggest in this time farming your Tigra and your Lizard up to 4 stars. We're going to be using them in different legendary events, as well as Crucible or War respectively. They're going to have a long shelf life, so getting them to 4 stars now and then letting them build up organically to 5, 6, and 7 will benefit you a lot. Now this looks like a lot of characters to farm, but I really hope you listen to our earlier video advice for new players. 50 cores times 4 a day for your regular energy. This is going to let you farm all these characters and more. While farming these, I'm still able to farm Cersei, who's sitting over on a Villains United node as well. I think she's on chapter 2. Yes, chapter 2. I'm still able to farm her. As you can see, she's at 3 out of 5. Let's farm her one more time. Now we got an additional 4 shards from her. We're going to get her to 7 stars pretty quickly just because we have the time for it. At least we did have the time for it. Now that we hit level 80, there is another campaign that comes out that is very, very interesting. So in the Nexus Hard campaign, at the end of every chapter, there is a character to farm, and on that character node is a different sort of orb. So on the chapter 1, node 9, we have the training orb. On chapter 2, node 9, we have the gold orb. Chapter 3, node 9, we have the training orb. You can see how it bounces back and forth. So once we have access to this, we want to sort of change things up. We farmed out all of our raid characters to the max. That is the most important thing. So even when you hit level 80, get your Gambit done, get your Noir done, get your Sunspot done, get your, who else was there? Ghost Spider and Venom. Make sure they're all 7 stars. That's going to be very beneficial to you. And then just farm your gold and your training material orb nodes. That's going to be, continue to farm Sunspot till he's maxed and start farming Echo just because why not? Get your Sylvie maxed out, get your Teen Loki maxed out, your Titania maxed out. Do that for the gold orbs. And at the same time, you need to farm these training mat orbs even though the characters kind of suck. And they do kind of suck because if you have too much gold, the training materials, that doesn't do much for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Dorky, what the heck? You have now not told us to farm Heartless, who is on the, I think he's on the Heroes Assembled node. Was it 5 or 6? Okay, Dazzler. Here's a better example. Dazzler is on the Heroes Campaign Chapter 6, Node 9. We need her for the Apocalypse unlock. Why the heck aren't you telling us that we should farm that? Well, that'll lead us to talk about the Horseman problem. Now, the Horseman problem is simple. We need these characters to unlock Apocalypse right now. I know the developers are thinking about changing some aspects of that. I don't know the details, but they want to make it easier. So it might be that by the time you are actually ready to do Apocalypse, you're not going to need those teams anymore. So don't farm them now. No, farm the gold and the training materials, because that is going to be the long-lasting benefit to your account. But make no mistake, orbs exist in this game, and they are super RNG heavy. If we look at my roster right now, ooh, we won the war. If we look at my roster right now, you will see that I have a lot of pretty high character shards on random characters. My cloak is maxed out from farming the raid orb. My Sylvie is getting there from farming her node. My thing is maxed out because I was farming the Nexus campaign. So I'm getting really healthy stars on these characters, whether it be from premium orbs, from farming the nodes along the way, basic orbs, from events. Oh my god, Spider-Man 2099, I haven't farmed him once in the War Store. He just had events for like the Spider Society that's currently happening, right? They rain character shards on you. My Deadpool is now 6 stars from the Blitz orb. This is just gonna happen organically. And if I look at some of the Horseman characters, we got Dark Beast unlocked already. She-Hulk is unlocked. She's ready to nearly go up to 5 stars. US Agent, he's going to be needed for the Green Goblin Classic event. He's already for 4 stars. I never farmed these characters once. Same with Winter Soldier, ready for 4 stars. I never farmed these characters. I have Nemesis unlocked. I never once farmed him from the Cosmic Crucible store. Why would you do that? You will get character shards through RNG chance, but you cannot make up the benefit that farming the gold, purposely farming the gold that does not have a % chance to drop, it's 100% chance it's going to drop. There is no world where you can argue that you should be farming these older characters instead of the gold, because you as a mid-game player or a new player, you are playing catch up, you are going to need to level up so many teams, and you need the training materials for that as well, for War, for Crucible, for whatever the newest raid team is, for whatever the newest arena team is. Getting your gold and your training materials is so much more valuable to you than it could ever be than farming character shards. All right, letting us finish off by talking about the last campaign that we didn't talk about yet. That is going to be the Incursion campaign. It has a different energy. In this campaign, there's no gold orbs to be worried about, but there are red stars. What I would say, even though I'm leveling faster, even though they're raining shards on me, I've never cared or needed to go farm red stars. You get enough silver promos and gold promos to level up the characters that you want, or sorry, to star rank up the characters that you want, that farming them in the Incursion campaign, like farming red stars on them, makes absolutely no sense. No. Instead, you want to farm the characters that are on chapters 3 and I believe chapter 6, starting with Kang, and then heading on over to chapter 6, which I actually haven't beaten yet because I don't have 7-star characters. We have Vol, who I think is on the last node, yes. So this is my official recommendation for the Incursion campaign. Farm them to max. You can really only farm 1 character a day anyway. So farm your Kang to max. He's a super amazing character. You're going to use him in the arena. He's an amazing plug-and-play character. You need him for the Nova unlock. Get your Kang maxed out as fast as possible. Thank God he's on the early chapter 3. Then we're going to do Vol. Even if Bifrost is out of the meta, you should still do Vol because she is a Scopely original character. She's going to be getting some love. Same thing goes for Spider Weaver. She's on an early chapter as well. So before you reach chapter 6, put the extra energy into farming Weaver. That's what I do as well. Zombie Iron Man, he's kind of a evergreen character because he turns the enemy's power against them. And then Deathpool. Deathpool's in the Milestone 2 orb. Yes, you should farm her to max if you have the other 4 done, but you also might just get her to max from the Milestone 2 orb anyway, so not much to worry about there. And that's going to be it, guys. That is my official farming guide for you under the new system, especially the leveling fast system. You're too hooked up on keeping your raid teams up to date, and then we are going to be exploding. Now we're going to be a higher level, so we're going to be able to bring teams higher. You need the gold and training orbs to do that. And you don't need to worry about farming characters for Apocalypse or Legendary unlocks. the random RNG from your mega orbs, your premium orbs, it's going to get you those characters anyway. Don't stress it. Don't overthink it. Stick with your raid teams, get your gold, level up those fun teams as soon as you got your raid teams up and running at the highest raid difficulty, and that's when the game really takes off and becomes a lot of fun. Obviously, if you are watching this is done at the end of April of 2024. If this is a later month than that, keep an eye out for new characters that could have been added to the store that might have taken the place of Nightcrawler and Cosmic Crucible store, or of Forge in the War store. Maybe there's Hive Mind characters in there now, right? That's where they're going to put them, guys, because those stores are the more scarce. Anyway, I hope this video found you well. I hope it helped you. If it did, make sure you leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and go get rich. Go mine that gold, guys. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.